Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, The King in Black, issue number 1, only $6.99 U.S. cover price. I'd have paid more. This was amazing. Holy crap, I cannot believe how amazing this is. And I've got 1,000,002 things to tell you about this book. Keep count because it's real. But first, we're going to give credit where credit's due. That's number 1. Okay, so King in Black, Chapter 1, Reign, R-E-I-G-N, not R-A-I-N, although we get both. Okay, so Donnie Cates is the writer, Ryan Stegman on pencils, J.P. Meyer on inks, Frank Martin doing the color art, VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letters. The main cover is Stegman, Meyer, and Martin. There's a whole bunch of variant covers, and Donnie Cates actually does one of those covers too. A logo designed by Patrick McGrath, and one of my favorite parts of this book, with love to Stan and Steve and David and Todd. That's what I'm talking about, my peeps. Like respect. Forget that greed crap. That's the currency of the world. So we start off almost immediately after the end of the most recent issue of Venom. Obviously, there's a little bit of time in between because he puts Dylan to bed instead of them both just, hi, we're back from this world, back to Earth 616, hi. No, there's been some time. So he swings all the way across town to get to Dylan. He's like, hey, I'm going to put you in a bomb shelter. Enjoy. It's like, dude, are you kidding me right now? But that's what any of us would do. It's what any sensible person would do. Like, what kind of an idiot would be like, the safest place, for you would be on my back like Yoda. I will be Luke Skywalker, and you will tell me to lift rocks. Like, screw that. Go kick rocks. You're an idiot. Put him in a bomb shelter. It's the best place for him. I know. I've been in a bomb shelter. They're very safe. You feel very secure inside of them. Anyhow, and he gets in contact with Cap. Cap, it's time. And Cap gets in contact with Tony, and they're waiting for somebody big to show up. Oh, that's a fun one. I'm 100% foreshadowed it. But still, that was a fun one, right? We get so much action in this book. And almost none of it is from Eddie. It's actually everybody else around him because Eddie's got something else to do. And in Memories of Absolute Carnage, he goes down to that, I forget what they call it, but that little hub where Carnage was actually reaching out to all of the symbiotes down in sewers. And he goes there and he's like, this is how I'm going to see into where I got to see. And things got wicked. The first wave to help people out was actually Captain America and Living Lightning and Doctor Strange and a bunch of the people who were basically on the ground, doing the ground game, and evacuating the people. Very, very important. This was smart, I'm not a huge fan of the way that Donnie writes Captain America, but, that's neither here nor there. It's just a simple thing. It is what it is. Man's got to learn some military lingo at the very least. Military moves, how a soldier would actually act, all that good stuff. Then maybe he'll do a better job. But for now, no, please no more. Please don't write Captain America anymore. Not good. But the way he writes pretty much everybody else, oh hell yes, I'm digging on this. And it's the second wave. The second wave actually wound up turning out to be a very cool thing that when you have crossover events, you very rarely see this wave. But when it showed up, like, you see it on the one page, the conversation, and you know right away exactly who this is. So when you turn the page, you're not surprised, but your heart just swells with, they're involved! They're here! And I love it. I love it. I am so here for this. I'm here for this event. Bro, this first issue, you want to talk about knocking out the park? Let's go. We're here, all right? This was out of control. There's another wave that shows up, and another, and the third wave was really kind of goofy. You can't have two people and say it's a wave. I don't care who they are. You know what I'm saying? But when the big dog finally shows up, you think there's a chance you could be thinking it's Thor because Donnie writes Thor 2, right? It's a little different, and it made perfect sense. And I did foreshadow this. It's not a big deal. Foreshadow is an interesting, I'm going to say pun. Unintended, but very welcome. I like this choice. I like what they've done with this. I really think I'm going to like where this is going to go. Just don't forget that you did this. Keep going with this in the next issues because, holy crap, looking forward to this, man. This book. What is this book, bro? walked into this with such low expectations, all right? And I expected the art to be slamming, and it did not disappoint at all. Not in the slightest bit. When you see what's behind the veil, it's not just dragons, it runs deeper. When you see what the deeper is, like, holy crap. Yo! Donnie's pulling out the stops, and I'm loving it. And I want to point out a couple of things. I want to point out the direction of the art, the way that the art works. You know, there are several duos that we all know and love. I know there's the idea of Lee and Ditko. Lee and Ditko didn't work. They simply did not work. They butted heads way too often. And while Lee and Kirby didn't really get along too well, they still made masterpieces, absolute masterpieces. Who else you got? I could name some names. Oh, for crying out loud, it wasn't Michelini. O'Neill. Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams, right? The Neilers, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, these two monsters of rock. You know what I'm saying? The Green Arrow and Green Lantern stories. Snyder and Capullo, right? Snyder and Jock. This guy's got two. All right. Some of the team ups that you get in comics are just, they're profound. And we found another set of brothers in arms in Cates and Stegman. Like, these guys, when they get together, you know it's going to be good, right? And you can't have them write everything and draw everything, because then it's just going to get tedious. But damn it, man, this was amazing. I want to point out, and if you like the Thor comic books and the direction they're going and everything like that now, I'm not here to belittle you at all. That's simply not who I am. I'm simply telling you my experiences, my tastes, and my likes and dislikes. I do challenge you, though. Look at the way that Donnie writes Venom. Look at the way that he writes Thor. He's writing them both at the same time. So the way that I see it is as follows. Donnie is writing Venom for himself. He's writing Venom for us, right? Donnie is writing Thor for Jason Aaron. He's not writing it for us. So while he's writing Venom for an audience of Venomaniacs, he's writing Thor for an audience of one. Now, Donnie has on occasion watched at least one of my videos. He says he watched more. I don't believe him. But even if I knew for a fact that he was watching my videos, I wouldn't want him to tell me that he is. Because there is that chance that now I can't just be honest in my review because, I don't want to insult anybody. Like, I don't want to insult anybody. I don't want writers and artists to watch my videos and to check out my reviews. I really don't want them to do that. Check out the beginning. If I said I liked it, I get whatever. You want some criticism, whatever, I guess, but it'll be constructive, and I'm not going to make any personal attacks. But I don't want to have that fear looming over me that this person's going to be insulted. Me saying something negative about their stuff. Like, I'm never going to make a personal attack, but still, some people just can't handle criticism. Believe me, there are lots of people who can't handle any criticism. I didn't really like it that much. Yeah, well, you're a hack. Sure. Okay. You know the things that have been told to me by drill sergeants? You think hack is going to bother me? Anyway. What do you call it? I'm not a professional reviewer. This is a hobby. This is a part-time thing for me. So it is what it is, honestly. But I feel that when Donnie writes Venom, like, this guy, he just gets so into this. He puts his soul into this. In fact, I've got a very distinct belief that Dylan is actually Donnie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, who when we were kids, what young boy when we were kids didn't imagine Superman coming in to, save us from a burning building, or Batman grabbing us just before a Jokerfish came up to bite us or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm serious. Who didn't imagine that at some point, right? Until we grow up and imagine that we were those characters. At the end of the day, Donnie is still, in my eyes, that little boy who imagined that Venom was going to come and swoop him up. And in some ways, I feel almost like he made him his father. You know what I'm saying? Look, here's Venom, and here's Donnie. I mean Dylan, and he's just this little kid, and he's actually got all these amazing powers. He's the most powerful one of them all, but for now, he's got to be nurtured. He's got to be protected, and it's an amazing story. It's a damn good story, man. Holy crap! Plot, story, characters, you name it. It's emotional. It's visceral. It's violent. It's detailed. And I don't know, like, who doesn't love this stuff, right? Donnie's way of writing is to hit you with some kind of a big flashbang grenade. And it's like, they're non-lethal for the most part, if you're not too close to them. They're non-lethal. Leave you with a headache, you know? A little ring in your ears, a little tinnitus. You would say for a couple minutes at least, nothing permanent onset. But when he does it with Venom, it sticks. When he does it with Thor, for me, it's like, I'm sure Jason Aaron's impressed. I'm not, you know? But when he does it with Venom, it's like he's doing it because of the absolute love of the character that he's writing. It resounds, it resonates like the bell the first time that the symbiote came off from Peter and landed on Eddie. It resonates like that, you know? Damn it, dude. When you get to the back of the book, after the introduction page, and you realize the play on words and whatnot, the play on one particular word, no spoilers here, this is after all those pages, the so-called letters page, where there's no real letters, it's just the editor talking about stories that he's loved and books that are out right now, which I'm agreeing with a lot of what he's saying here. A lot of this stuff is really good. We also get a timeline. And this right here is one of the reasons why Donnie's work is so amazing. We've got it's not really a flow chart, but this is essentially a chart that flows. And we get this amazing timeline pictograph of all these great Venom stories from then until now. You're going to love just sitting down and going through all these. There's also a half-chewed checklist here. Now, I've talked to a writer who is friends with Donnie, choose to believe me or not, and he was very, very critical of Donnie's King in Black. Well, he didn't say anything specifically about Donnie, but he's saying, like, all the tie-ins, man. See all the tie-ins for this? It's crazy, all the tie-ins, isn't there? And there was a reason for him telling me these things. But I just had to be polite and kind of back off and be like, oh, yeah, we'll see. I hope that they're good. I hope that they're all good, because I hate all these tie-ins, man. I'm not a fan of them, you know? But we'll see. You know, maybe I'll just be reading the main story in Venom. We'll see. But even all of that, all it did was lower my expectations a little bit. Donnie looks at lowered expectations. He's like, that just makes it easier for me to kick those expectations in. And it worked, because there are splinters everywhere. I'm just happily picking them all up, going, This is a really fun book, man. Also, for the sake of conversation, I'm going to try and throw up, let's see, I think on this side will work better. Let's throw up a bunch of the titles that are coming out, because there is a lot in the checklist. I'm saying, by the way, while you're looking at that, consider going to comicbookuni.com. That is my new website, which just went up yesterday. There's also a merch store on there. Again, I do not do this professionally. I do not make a living off of this, so you're not putting food in my mouth or on the table for my kids by buying something. All you're really doing is supporting my toy habit, my comic book habit. That's all you're really doing. So if you want merch, get merch. If you're wanting to support me, simply like the video and watch an ad. I mean, that's all I've ever asked for. If you're a patron, thank you. If you're a patron, all that good stuff. But for the most part, sorry, are you done with the list? Are you done with the list now? Anyway, this book, this is amazing. And all the stuff coming up. I don't know how I'm excited for all of it, but I do see a lot of it crossing over. And I love that. I love that because if they're in the main book, if they're in the main event book, then there's going to be some reason for there to be a crossover. As long as those stories are decent, I'm going to say good, let's go. That's all I want to see. Because if you watch my videos, if you listen to my reviews before, you know I'm not big on ancillaries and tie-ins and all that nonsense. Because they're usually just, the writer either didn't want to do them in the first place or doesn't know how to handle it, in the second. So, as long as they're taking advantage of this, this is an amazing, amazing series. I'm going to try and get as many of these tie-ins as I possibly can for as long as I can until I start thinking this one sucks, so I don't want to get the next one, whatever. Maybe it'll bring me onto another book permanently. Maybe not, but that is what the intent of having tie-ins are. It's not just for that extra one-issue sale. Having that extra one-issue sale, if that one issue sells way better than the rest of your line, guess what? You're fired. You actually can't fire a freelancer, but you get what I'm saying. You no longer are on that title because you suck. Donnie Cates made people read that issue, and it's not making people want to read your book more. So it's a potentially dangerous thing to have tie-ins with, or specifically tie-ins with your comic book. So I hope that everybody's going to take solid advantage of this. There's some great writers at Marvel, and they could really use a couple of stories showing up in their titles where, hey, look, I'm going to read this now. This is actually really good. Does this person usually write this well? Is the art usually this good in the comic? You know what? This was the last issue of the tie-in. Let me get the next issue just for the sake of conversation. And then all of a sudden it's either good or they fall off the book. It's that simple. So do a good job with it. Seriously, especially with a title like this. King in Black is amazing so far. Still has to stick that landing. So let's see what else happens. Again, when you write like Donnie, where, okay, cool stuff happened, right? Cool stuff. Here's a whammy. It's like, oh, well, I was expecting a whammy. I was totally expecting a whammy. Hey, cool stuff happening. Oh, look, guess what's over there? What's over there? Whammy. Oh, wasn't expecting that. Totally saw that coming. Telegraphed it, shadow boxing. Gotcha. But no, if we're expecting the whammies, okay, cool, but the whole book can't just be whammies. The whole event can't just be whammies. There's actually got to be some killer story here. And I'm hoping that that's what we get. A man can only survive on but so many whammies. At some point, he must drink. So let us drink in this story and hope that it stays as amazing as it is. Guys, and now talk to y'all later. You already liked the video, right? Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.